moonstone, glowing with a gentle light. With the first piece in hand, Lyra continued her journey. The second clue led her to the Whispering Falls, a majestic waterfall that was said to hold secrets within its cascading waters. As Lyra approached the falls, she noticed a shimmering mist that seemed to dance in the light. Behind the waterfall was a hidden cave. Inside the cave, Lyra found a glowing pool with a golden pedestal at its center. On the pedestal was a second piece of the moonstone, but it was guarded by a powerful enchantment. The pool's water formed shapes and patterns, creating another riddle. To claim the moonstone's light anew, show the courage to see it through. Face the trials of the heart and mind, and the path to the treasure you'll find. Lyra took a deep breath and stepped into the pool. As she waded through the water, she faced various trials, illusions of her fears, challenges that tested her bravery, and puzzles that required her wisdom. With each trial, she remained steadfast and true to herself. At last, Lyra reached the pedestal and retrieved the second piece of the moonstone. The pool's surface calmed, and the cave was filled with a warm, comforting light. With 2 pieces of the moonstone, Lyra journeyed to the final destination, the Grove of Stars, a part of the forest where the sky seemed to touch the earth. The grove was bathed in a soft, ethereal light, and at its center was a grand, ancient tree with branches that reached towards the stars. At the base of the tree was a third riddle: in the place where stars descend, seek the key to the moonstone's end. Combine the pieces with pure intent, and restore the magic that was spent. Lyra placed the 2 pieces of the moonstone on a stone altar beneath the tree. As she did, the pieces began to glow and merge, forming the complete moonstone. The tree's branches trembled with joy, and a soft, silver light spread through the grove of stars. The moonstone's magic restored the Whispering Woods to its former glory. The trees regained their voices, the flowers began to sing, and the entire forest was filled with a sense of wonder and enchantment. Lyra returned to her village with the moonstone, and the villagers celebrated her bravery and determination. The magic of the Whispering Woods was renewed, and the village of Eldergrove thrived once more. The story of Lyra and the moonstone became a beloved legend, inspiring generations to come. And so, the tale of Lyra and the moonstone was passed down through the ages, reminder that with courage, wisdom, and a pure heart, even the greatest mysteries can be unraveled, and magic can be restored. And thus, the story of Lyra and the moonstone became a cherished legend, a testament to the enduring power of bravery and the magic that lies within every quest. Once upon a time, in a land where the sky was painted with the colors of dawn and dusk, there was a tranquil village nestled beside a grand, ancient forest. At the heart of this forest stood a magnificent willow tree known as the Whispering Willow. Legend spoke of its ability to communicate with the creatures of the forest and grant wishes to those who were pure of heart. In this village lived a young girl named Aisling. Aisling had always been drawn to the forest and the Whispering Willow. Her mother had told her stories about the willow's magic and the secret it kept, a hidden kingdom that lay beyond the reach of ordinary folk. Though she was only 11, Aisling's curiosity and kindness had won her the affection of everyone in the village. One evening, as Aisling sat by the edge of the forest, she heard a soft, melodious whisper coming from the direction of the Whispering Willow. The voice was faint but clear, like a gentle breeze carrying secrets. "Aisling," it whispered, "the time has come for you to embark on a journey to find the hidden kingdom and restore balance to our world." Aisling's heart raced with excitement and determination. She had always dreamed of seeing the hidden kingdom, and now, it seemed her dream was coming true. She quickly gathered a small satchel with essentials, some bread, a flask of water, and a map her mother had once given her. As she approached the Whispering Willow, she saw that its branches were glowing softly in the twilight. The tree spoke again, its voice like the rustling of leaves. "To find the hidden kingdom, you must first complete 3 tasks that will test your courage, wisdom, and kindness. Follow the path illuminated by my light." With the willow's guidance, Aisling entered the forest, where the trees seemed to part for her, revealing a path bathed in a soft, silver glow. The first task awaited her, a trial of courage. Aisling came upon a deep, dark ravine with a narrow, rickety bridge made of vines and wooden planks. The bridge swayed precariously over the chasm. Aisling took a deep breath and stepped onto the bridge. It creaked and wobbled. But she focused on the light from the willow, guiding her steps. With each careful step, the bridge steadied, and Aisling made it across safely. On the other side of the ravine stood a wise old owl perched on a branch. "You have passed the trial of courage," the owl said. "Now, for the trial of wisdom." The owl led Aisling to a large stone with an ancient inscription. "To proceed, you must solve this riddle. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?" Aisling pondered the riddle, recalling the stories her mother had told her. "An echo," she answered confidently. The owl nodded and flapped its wings, revealing a hidden door behind the stone. "You have shown wisdom. The final trial awaits you, the trial of kindness." Aisling walked through the hidden door and entered a beautiful glade where animals of all kinds were gathered. Many were injured or in distress. The scene was heart-wrenching. The animals looked at her with hopeful eyes, as if they were waiting for her help. Using her knowledge of herbs and her gentle touch, Aisling tended to the animals. She healed their wounds, provided them with fresh water, and comforted them. As she worked, the glade began to glow with a warm, golden light. With the final trial complete, a magical portal appeared in the center of the glade. The whispering willow's voice spoke again, "You have proven yourself worthy. Enter the portal to find the hidden kingdom and restore its balance." Aisling stepped through the portal and found herself in a breathtaking kingdom of shimmering lights and floating islands. The hidden kingdom was unlike anything she had ever seen: crystal-clear lakes, soaring mountains, and sparkling meadows. However, she soon saw that the kingdom was in disarray. The once beautiful landscape was marred by dark, swirling clouds and wilted plants. At the center of the kingdom stood a grand palace, and inside it, a regal queen awaited her. The queen's eyes were filled with sadness. The kingdom's magic has been disrupted, and only the pure-hearted can restore its balance. Aisling, you have proven yourself through the trials. To bring balance back, you must unite the 3 lost artifacts of the kingdom. Aisling nodded and set out on her quest. She discovered that the artifacts, a crystal orb, a golden staff, and a silver pendant, were hidden in 3 separate locations, each guarded by magical creatures. The first artifact, the crystal orb, was hidden in a cave guarded by a fire-breathing dragon. Aisling approached the dragon with respect and bravery, explaining her quest. The dragon, moved by her sincerity, allowed her to take the orb, giving her a blessing for her journey. The second artifact, the golden staff, was located in a lush garden guarded by a mischievous fairy. Aisling showed kindness by helping the fairy with a task, untangling a web of enchanted vines that had ensnared some small creatures. In gratitude, the fairy handed over the staff. The third artifact, the silver pendant, was in a floating tower guarded by a wise old sage. The sage challenged Aisling to a test of heart, asking her to reveal her deepest desire. Aisling's answer was simple but profound: "I wish for a world where kindness and courage lead the way." The sage, touched by her wish, gave her the pendant. With all 3 artifacts in hand, Aisling returned to the palace. She placed each artifact in its designated spot, on a pedestal in the palace's grand hall. The artifacts began to glow brightly, and the dark clouds that had overshadowed the kingdom started to dissipate. The landscape transformed back into its radiant, magical state. The queen smiled with immense relief and joy. "You have restored the balance and brought back the kingdom's magic. For your bravery, wisdom, and kindness, you shall always be remembered here." Aisling returned to her village, where she was greeted with great celebration. The villagers marveled at her bravery and the tales of the hidden kingdom. The Whispering Willow continued to thrive, and Aisling's story became a cherished legend. And so, Aisling lived a life filled with wonder and adventure, always carrying the lessons of courage, wisdom, and kindness in her heart. The hidden kingdom remained a beacon of magic and hope, a reminder of the extraordinary power of a pure heart. The end. Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Lemuria, there was a magical place known as the Crystal Lake. The lake was famed throughout the land for its clear, shimmering waters, which were said to reflect not just the sky but also one's deepest wishes. It was surrounded by ancient trees, their leaves glimmering like diamonds in the moonlight. In a quaint village near the lake, lived a young girl named Mira. Mira had a kind heart and a curious mind. Every evening, she would walk to the Crystal Lake, where she spent hours gazing into the water and dreaming of adventures. Mira's favorite story was about a moonlit prince, a mysterious figure said to appear once every century, who could grant a single wish to those pure of heart. One moonlit night, as Mira sat by the lake, she saw a figure emerge from the water. It was the moonlit prince, exactly as the legends described, tall, with silver hair that sparkled like starlight and eyes as deep as the night sky. He wore a cloak that seemed to be woven from moonbeams. Mira, the moonlit prince said, his voice gentle and musical, "I have come because the time has come for the lake to reveal its true magic. You have shown great kindness and bravery, and I will grant you a wish." Mira was both thrilled and nervous. She had always dreamed of exploring the world beyond her village, but she was unsure if it was the right wish. Seeing her hesitation, the moonlit prince added, "You may take a moment to decide, but remember, the choice you make will shape your destiny." Mira thought long and hard. She loved her village, but she also felt a calling to see more of the world, to help others and experience adventures. Finally, she spoke with conviction, "I wish to explore the world and learn as much as I can, so I can return and help my village." The moonlit prince nodded, pleased with her selfless choice. He touched the surface of the lake, and it began to glow with a soft, golden light. "Very well. Your journey will be full of wonder and challenges. I will grant you a magical map that will guide you and a crystal pendant to keep you safe." From the lake's glow, a beautifully ornate map and a shimmering crystal pendant emerged. Mira thanked the moonlit prince, who smiled and vanished back into the waters. The map and pendant were imbued with magic, and Mira felt a sense of excitement and responsibility as she prepared for her adventure. The next morning, Mira set out with her magical map and pendant. The map revealed a path leading through enchanted forests, over towering mountains, and across vast deserts. Her first destination was the Whispering Forest, known for its talking animals and mysterious whispers. As Mira ventured into the Whispering Forest, she encountered a talking fox named Finn. Finn had a problem. His home, a cozy burrow beneath a grand oak tree, had been taken over by a mischievous band of gnomes. Finn asked for Mira's help in reclaiming his home. Mira agreed and used her crystal pendant to create a protective barrier around the burrow, preventing the gnomes from causing more trouble. She then negotiated with the gnomes, offering them some of her provisions in exchange for Finn's home. The gnomes, realizing that Mira's offer was fair, agreed and left the burrow. Finn was grateful and guided Mira to the edge of the forest. Next on her journey was the Celestial Mountains, where the air was thin and the paths treacherous. Mira climbed with determination, using her map to find the safest routes. Along the way, she met an old hermit named Gideon, who was searching for a rare flower that bloomed only on the highest peak. Gideon explained that the flower had magical properties that could heal any ailment, but he had been unable to reach it due to the dangerous conditions. Mira, recognizing the importance of the flower, offered to help Gideon find it. Together, they scaled the last stretch of the mountain, braving strong winds and icy slopes. At the peak, they found the rare flower glowing softly in the moonlight. Mira picked it carefully and gave it to Gideon, who was overjoyed. In gratitude, Gideon gave Mira a special potion that would provide strength and protection during her travels. With the potion and renewed energy, Mira continued her journey to the sunlit desert, a vast and arid land where she faced her most difficult challenge yet. The desert was known for its scorching heat and shifting sands, but Mira used her map and the guidance of the crystal pendant to navigate through. In the heart of the desert, Mira found an ancient ruin where a hidden treasure was said to be buried. She used her map to locate the treasure, but instead of gold or jewels, she discovered a magical artifact, a golden harp that played melodies that could summon rain. The harp was a powerful tool that could help the desert's inhabitants, who were suffering from a prolonged drought. Mira decided to use the harp to bring rain to the desert, and soon, the skies opened up, and the land was blessed with nourishing showers. With her quest complete, Mira returned to her village, carrying tales of her adventures and gifts from those she had helped. The villagers welcomed her with open arms, and Mira shared the knowledge and magical items she had gathered, using them to improve the lives of everyone in her community. The village prospered with the help of the enchanted map, the golden harp, and the crystal pendant. Mira's bravery and kindness had made a difference, and she was celebrated as a heroine. And so, the story of Mira and her journey became a cherished legend in Lemuria, reminding all who heard it that courage, kindness, and a touch of magic could change the world. The end. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village called Evergreen, nestled among emerald hills and shimmering lakes, there was a magical garden known as the Starflower Grove. This garden was famous for its incredible blooms that only opened on the night of the full moon, revealing flowers that sparkled like the stars in the sky. Legend had it that the Starflower Grove was enchanted by a mystical guardian named Lumina, who had the power to make dreams come true. Each year, on the night of the harvest moon, Lumina would reveal a single, extraordinary starflower with a glowing heart at its center. It was said that whoever found this flower would be granted one true wish. In Evergreen lived a young girl named Iris. Iris was known for her kindness and her love for the natural world. She had grown up listening to tales of the Starflower Grove and dreamed of one day witnessing its magic for herself. This year, she decided, would be the time she would finally find the Starflower and make a wish for her ailing grandmother. As the harvest moon approached, the village buzzed with excitement. The festival to celebrate the blooming of the starflowers was a grand event, and everyone eagerly awaited the magical night. Iris, however, had a special plan. She wanted to find the legendary starflower before anyone else to ensure she could make her wish for her grandmother's recovery. On the night of the harvest moon, Iris set out for the Starflower Grove with a lantern and a heart full of hope. The sky was clear, and the moonlight bathed the grove in a silver glow. The garden was alive with sparkling flowers in every hue, their petals shimmering as if dusted with stardust. As Iris wandered through the grove, she noticed that the flowers seemed to whisper and twirl as she passed. She followed the soft, glowing path deeper into the garden, guided by an inner sense of direction. The further she went, the more the flowers seemed to sing in harmony, creating a melody that guided her steps. Suddenly, Iris heard a voice, a soft, melodious voice that seemed to come from the very heart of the garden. "Welcome, brave seeker. You have come to find the Starflower. I am Lumina, the guardian of this enchanted place." Iris looked around and saw a figure emerging from behind a shimmering waterfall. Lumina was a graceful being with flowing silver hair and eyes that sparkled like the night sky. "I have come to find the Starflower and make a wish for my grandmother," Iris said with earnest hope. Lumina smiled gently. "The Starflower is not easily found. It requires not just a search, but a pure heart and a selfless wish. To find it, you must solve 3 riddles that test your understanding of love, courage, and kindness." Iris nodded, determined. Lumina began with the first riddle. "In the heart of darkness, a light does shine, a beacon of hope, both tender and kind. What am I?" Iris thought for a moment and then replied, "A star." Lumina's eyes twinkled with approval. "Correct. Here is your next riddle, without a voice. I speak to the soul, a gentle touch that makes one whole. What am I?" Iris pondered and then answered, "A hug." Lumina nodded and presented the final riddle. "From a heart that gives without asking in return, a fire of warmth and love will always burn. What am I?" Iris's heart guided her to the answer. "Compassion," she said. Lumina's smile widened, and she clapped her hands softly. "You have answered wisely and with a heart full of love. The Starflower awaits you." With a wave of her hand, Lumina revealed a hidden path that led to the center of the grove. There, in a clearing bathed in moonlight, stood the most magnificent flower Iris had ever seen. It was the Starflower, its petals radiant and its heart glowing warmly. Iris approached the flower and gently touched its glowing center. She closed her eyes and made her wish, hoping with all her heart that her grandmother would recover. As Iris finished her wish, the starflower's light enveloped her in a soft, warm glow. The next morning, when Iris returned to her grandmother's side, she was overjoyed to find that her grandmother was feeling much better. Her health was restored, and her spirit was brighter than ever. News of Iris's wish and the magical starflower spread throughout the village, and everyone celebrated the wonder of the starflower grove and the kindness of Iris. From that day on, the villagers of Evergreen continued to cherish and care for the magical garden, knowing that its true magic came from the love and selflessness of those who sought its gifts. And as for Iris, she learned that the greatest magic of all is found in the purest wishes of the heart and the joy of sharing that magic with those we love. Once upon a time, in the faraway kingdom of Alaria, there was a beautiful and mysterious flower that bloomed only once every 100 years. Known as the starflower, it glowed with a radiant light that shimmered like the stars themselves. Legend said that whoever possessed a starflower could make a wish that would come true, no matter how impossible. Princess Elowen, the youngest daughter of King Aldric, had heard stories of the starflower her entire life. She was a curious and adventurous soul, unlike her older sisters, who preferred the comforts of the palace. Elowen longed for a life full of magic and wonder beyond the kingdom's borders. As fate would have it, the starflower was due to bloom again on the night of her 16th birthday. The entire kingdom buzzed with excitement, and people from far and wide gathered in Alaria to witness the rare bloom. But for Elowen, this was no mere celebration, it was her chance to change her fate. The night of the bloom arrived, and a grand festival was held. Elowen, dressed in her royal gown, snuck away from the palace. She made her way through the enchanted forest, following the glowing trail of fireflies that were said to lead to the starflower's hidden location. Deep in the forest, she encountered magical creatures, talking owls, mischievous sprites, and even a grumpy old troll guarding a bridge. "What is a princess like you doing in a place like this?" the troll asked, narrowing his eyes. "I'm seeking the starflower," Elowen replied confidently. The troll chuckled. "Many have sought the starflower, but few have returned. You must answer my riddle to pass." Elowen smiled, unfazed by the challenge. "I accept." The troll cleared his throat. "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?" Elowen pondered for a moment, then said, "An echo." The troll grinned, showing his sharp teeth. "Very well, princess. You may pass, but beware. The starflower tests the heart of all who seek it." Elowen nodded and crossed the bridge. Venturing deeper into the forest, the air grew cooler, and the trees seemed to whisper ancient secrets. Finally, she reached a clearing where the starflower stood. It was more beautiful than she had ever imagined, its petals shimmered like diamonds, casting a soft, glowing light across the clearing. But as Elowen approached, a voice echoed in her mind, "To take the starflower, you must make a wish. But be warned, your heart's true desire will be revealed." Star. Elowen hesitated. She had always dreamed of adventure, of leaving the palace and exploring the world. But as she gazed at the starflower, another thought crept into her mind. She thought of her family, her father the king, who had grown weary and ill in recent years. The kingdom needed a ruler who could bring peace and prosperity. Could she wish for the throne? Or for her father's health? With trembling hands, Elowen reached for the starflower. "I wish," she began, but the words caught in her throat. Suddenly, the starflower glowed brighter, and the ground beneath her feet shifted. A figure emerged from the light. It was an old woman, her eyes sparkling with wisdom. "Your wish need not be spoken aloud, child," the woman said softly. "The starflower reveals the truth in your heart. And what you truly desire is not adventure or power, but the courage to be the ruler your kingdom needs." Tears filled Elowen's eyes as the woman's words struck her. She had always feared the responsibility of the crown, but deep down, she knew her kingdom needed a leader who was brave and compassionate. The old woman smiled and touched Elowen's forehead. the Starflower has granted you its gift. You will become the ruler Alaria needs, and your heart will guide you. But remember, true power lies not in magic, but in love and kindness." With that, the woman and the Starflower vanished, leaving Alolan standing alone in the clearing. But she was no longer afraid. She knew now that her journey was not about seeking adventure, but about embracing her destiny. When she returned to the palace, the kingdom welcomed her with open arms. King Aldrich, seeing the change in his daughter, knew that the time had come for her to lead. Alolan ruled with wisdom and grace, bringing peace to the land. And though the Starflower was gone, its magic lived on in her heart. And so, the legend of the Starflower Princess was born, a tale of courage, love, and the true meaning of power. And though Alolan's adventures took her far and wide, she always remembered that the greatest magic of all was found not in distant lands, but in the choices we make with our hearts. The end. Once upon a time, in a picturesque kingdom nestled between towering mountains and lush green meadows, there was a magical garden known as the Enchanted Garden. This garden was famous for its vibrant flowers, sparkling streams, and, most notably, its beautiful melodies that played through the air. The melodies came from a hidden, mystical source and were said to bring joy and peace to all who heard them. The guardian of this garden was a gentle fairy named Lyra. Lyra had delicate wings that shimmered like stardust and a heart full of kindness. She spent her days tending to the flowers and ensuring the melodies continued to enchant the land. The source of the melodies was a magical harp, which had been in the garden for centuries. This harp was enchanted to play melodies that healed hearts and brought happiness. One sunny morning, as Lyra was tending to the roses, she noticed something troubling. The melodies of the harp had grown faint and distant, as if the music was fading away. Concerned, Lyra flew to the harp's resting place, a glimmering grotto at the heart of the garden. The harp was still there, but its strings were dull and silent. Lyra knew that without the harp's melodies, the enchanted garden would lose its magic and the kingdom's happiness would wane. Determined to restore the harp's music, Lyra decided to seek help from the wise creatures of the kingdom. Lyra's first stop was the great oak tree, an ancient and wise tree that had stood for centuries and was known for its deep knowledge. The tree's bark was thick and gnarled, and its branches stretched high into the sky. "Great oak tree," Lyra began, "the harp's melodies are fading, and I fear that the magic of the enchanted garden is in danger. Do you know what could have caused this?" The great oak tree's voice was a deep, rumbling whisper. "Long ago, the harp was blessed by the moon goddess. However, if the moon goddess's blessing is disturbed, the harp's magic will weaken. There is a legend that a fragment of the moon goddess's blessing was stolen by a mischievous sprite named Glint, who lives in the Darkwood Forest." Thankful for the information, Lyra set off towards the Darkwood Forest, a dense and shadowy forest known for its tricky paths and elusive creatures. The journey was not easy, as the forest was filled with fog and the trees seemed to move on their own. After navigating through the forest, Lyra finally encountered Glint, the sprite, who was known for his playful tricks and quick movements. Glint had sparkling eyes and a mischievous grin, and he was fluttering about with a small, glowing fragment in his hands. "Greetings, Glint," Lyra called out. "I've come to ask if you have a fragment of the moon goddess's blessing. The harp's melodies are fading, and I need your help to restore them." Glint's eyes widened with surprise. "Oh, that old fragment. I took it years ago out of curiosity. I didn't realize it would cause such trouble." Seeing Glint's genuine remorse, Lyra offered a kind smile. "I understand that curiosity can lead us astray. But the garden needs the fragment to restore the harp's magic. Will you help me return it?" Glint agreed, and the two set off together back to the enchanted garden. Along the way, Glint shared stories of his adventures and the wonders he had seen. His tales were captivating, and Lyra found herself enjoying his company despite his mischievous nature. When they arrived at the garden, Glint carefully placed the fragment back into the harp's magical grove. As soon as the fragment touched the harp, a soft, radiant light enveloped it, and the harp strings began to shimmer and vibrate. The melodies that had once been faint and distant now filled the air with their enchanting music, even more beautiful than before. The flowers bloomed with renewed vigor, and the garden seemed to come alive with joy. The kingdom's happiness was restored, and Lyra thanked Glint for his help. Glint, having learned the value of responsibility and the impact of his actions, apologized for his earlier mischief. Lyra forgave him and invited him to visit the enchanted garden any time he wished. As a gesture of gratitude, Lyra and the creatures of the garden threw a grand celebration. The kingdom gathered to celebrate the return of the harp's music, and the enchanted garden was filled with laughter, dance, and joy. Glint, now a friend of the garden, joined in the festivities and shared his tales with the villagers. From that day on, the enchanted garden thrived with its magical melodies, and the kingdom remained a place of happiness and peace. Lyra continued to care for the garden, and Glint became a regular visitor, always welcomed with open arms. And so, the melody of the enchanted garden continued to echo through the kingdom, a reminder of the power of kindness, friendship, and the importance of restoring balance to the world. The end. Once upon a time, in a verdant valley surrounded by majestic mountains, there was a quaint village named Willowbrook. The village was known for its lush meadows, babbling brooks, and, most notably, a magnificent old willow tree that stood at the edge of the forest. This willow, with its sweeping branches and whispering leaves, was believed to hold ancient magic. The villagers revered the willow, for it was said that it could grant wisdom to those who approached it with a pure heart. But over the years, the tree had become a legend, and many had forgotten the true extent of its magic. In this village lived a brave and curious young girl named Eliza. Eliza was known for her adventurous spirit and kind heart. She had always been fascinated by the stories about the willow and had spent many afternoons playing beneath its branches. But lately, the village had been plagued by a terrible drought. The streams had dried up, the fields had turned brown, and the villagers were worried about their future. Determined to help, Eliza decided to seek out the wisdom of the whispering willow. One bright morning, as the sun cast its golden light over the valley, she made her way to the ancient tree. The willow's leaves rustled softly in the breeze, and its branches swayed gently, creating a soothing melody. As Eliza approached, she felt a sense of calm wash over her. She placed her hand on the tree's rough bark and spoke softly, "Oh, wise whispering willow, our village is suffering from a drought. We need your guidance to bring back the water and restore our land." The willow's branches trembled, and a soft, melodic voice spoke from the tree. "Brave Eliza, the solution to your village's plight lies hidden within the heart of the forest. You must find the crystal spring, a magical source of water that has been concealed for many years. Only with true courage and kindness will you be able to uncover it." Eliza listened intently. "How will I find the crystal spring?" she asked. "The path to the spring is guarded by 3 trials," the willow explained. "Each trial will test your bravery, wisdom, and compassion. Overcome them, and the way to the crystal spring will be revealed." With determination in her heart, Eliza set off into the forest. The trees seemed to part for her, guiding her along the path. The first trial came soon after, a dark, tangled thicket where a fierce-looking guardian, a great bear with glowing eyes, stood blocking her way. Eliza took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I seek the crystal spring to help my village. I mean no harm." The bear's eyes softened, and it spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "To pass this trial, you must show courage. Cross this thicket, and you shall proceed." Eliza carefully navigated the thicket, using her wit and agility to avoid the thorny branches. As she emerged on the other side, the bear nodded in approval, allowing her to continue. The second trial was a vast, still pond surrounded by eerie fog. In the center of the pond was a small island with a riddle inscribed on a stone pedestal. Eliza waded into the water and read the riddle aloud: "I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water. What am I?" Eliza pondered for a moment and then answered, "A map." The fog lifted, revealing a hidden path leading through the pond to the island. She retrieved a small, glowing key from the pedestal and continued her journey. The final trial was the most challenging, a steep, Rocky climbed to a cavern where a gentle voice beckoned her. Inside the cavern, Eliza found a golden chest, but it was locked. The key she had found was the only way to open it. As she unlocked the chest, she discovered a beautiful, crystal-clear vial filled with sparkling water. The vial shimmered with a soft, celestial light. Returning to Willowbrook, Eliza hurried to the village. The villagers gathered around, their faces full of hope. Eliza poured the water from the vial into the dried-up riverbed, and immediately, the ground began to tremble. Water gushed forth, filling the streams and revitalizing the land. The fields turned green again, and the villagers cheered with joy. The Whispering Willow's magic had restored the village, and Eliza's bravery and compassion had brought relief to her people. From that day on, the village of Willowbrook thrived once more, and the legend of the Whispering Willow was renewed with a new tale of courage and kindness. Eliza continued to explore and help others, always guided by the wisdom she had gained from her adventure. The Whispering Willow remained a beloved part of Willowbrook, its branches ever whispering tales of magic and wonder. And so, under the rejuvenated sky and the lush, green landscape, Willowbrook lived happily ever after, forever grateful to the brave girl who restored their land with a touch of magic and a heart full of courage. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a lush, green valley surrounded by majestic mountains, there stood an ancient tree known as the Whispering Willow. It was said that the tree held the secrets of the world within its rustling leaves and that those who listened carefully could hear its ancient wisdom. In a small village nestled near the base of the mountains lived a young boy named Leo. Leo was known for his curious nature and kind heart. He often spent his days exploring the forest and helping his neighbors with various tasks. Despite his busy life, he always felt drawn to the Whispering Willow, often spending hours sitting under its sprawling branches, listening to its gentle whispers. One day, as Leo rested beneath the tree, he heard something unusual, a soft, almost melodic whisper that seemed different from the usual rustling. The voice was faint but clear, and it spoke of a hidden kingdom that lay beyond the mountains, shrouded in mist and magic. The kingdom, according to the whisper, was in grave danger and needed someone with a pure heart to save it. Intrigued and determined, Leo decided to embark on a journey to find this hidden kingdom and uncover the truth behind the mysterious message. He packed a small satchel with essentials, a loaf of bread, a flask of water, and a compass, then set off towards the mountains, guided by the Whispering Willow's cryptic hints. The journey was arduous. Leo traversed through dense forests, climbed steep rocky paths, and crossed turbulent streams. But he never lost hope, spurred on by the whispers that seemed to guide him. After several days of travel, he finally reached a hidden valley that was veiled in a thick, shimmering mist. As Leo ventured into the mist, it parted to reveal a breathtaking sight, a magnificent kingdom with golden spires and shimmering gardens, all illuminated by a soft, otherworldly light. It was as though he had stepped into a realm from a dream. However, the kingdom was eerily silent, and the air was heavy with an unspoken sadness. Leo wandered through the streets and discovered that the kingdom was indeed in peril. The once vibrant city was now still and lifeless. The magical creatures that once roamed freely were nowhere to be seen, and the gardens were wilting. At the heart of the kingdom stood a grand palace, its towering spires reaching towards the sky. Leo approached the palace, hoping to find answers. Inside, he encountered the kingdom's guardian, a majestic, wise dragon named Elder, who had fallen into a deep, enchanted slumber. Elder awoke when Leo gently touched the dragon's scales. With a soft, groggy voice, Elder explained that the kingdom had been cursed by a malevolent sorceress who was envious of the kingdom's magic and prosperity. The curse had put the kingdom to sleep, and only a special kind of magic could lift it. The only way to break the curse, Elder said, is to find the heart of the kingdom, a magical gem hidden somewhere within the palace. The gem has the power to restore life and magic to our realm. Leo, determined to help, began searching the palace. He explored its grand halls, examined ancient tapestries, and solved riddles inscribed on the walls. His perseverance paid off when he discovered a hidden door behind a magnificent tapestry. Behind the door lay a chamber bathed in a soft, golden light. In the center of the chamber, on a pedestal, rested the heart of the kingdom, a gem that sparkled with a mesmerizing brilliance. As Leo approached the gem, he noticed that it was encased in a complex puzzle that seemed to require a special touch to unlock. Remembering the whispers of the Whispering Willow, Leo played a melody on his flute, a gift from his village, hoping to use the power of music to solve the puzzle. The melody resonated with the gem, causing it to glow warmly. The puzzle unlocked, and Leo gently took the heart of the kingdom into his hands. As he held the gem, a warm, soothing light spread throughout the palace and the kingdom. The once dying gardens bloomed anew, and the magical creatures began to stir from their slumber. The kingdom awoke with joy and celebration. Elder and the kingdom's inhabitants were overjoyed and grateful. They celebrated Leo's bravery and kindness with a grand feast and showered him with gifts and thanks. As a token of their appreciation, they gifted Leo a small crystal vial containing a drop of the heart's magic, promising that it would always guide him back to their realm whenever he needed. With a heart full of joy and a newfound sense of purpose, Leo bid farewell to the hidden kingdom and returned to his village. The Whispering Willow greeted him with a gentle rustling, as if acknowledging his bravery. The tale of Leo's adventure became a beloved legend in his village, reminding everyone of the power of courage, kindness, and the magic that exists in the world. And every time Leo played his flute beneath the Whispering Willow, its melodies carried the echoes of the hidden kingdom and its eternal gratitude. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between towering mountains and a vast forest, lived a little sparrow named Pip. Pip was the smallest bird in the entire village, with feathers that were a dull brown color. All the other birds had bright, beautiful feathers, reds, blues, and greens, that made them stand out. Because of his small size and plain feathers, Pip often felt unnoticed and unimportant. Every day, the birds would gather in the village square to sing their beautiful songs, showing off their feathers to the people who would come to listen. Pip always stood at the back, quietly listening. He wanted to join in, but he was too shy and thought no one would want to listen to a plain sparrow like him. So, he stayed quiet and watched from a distance. One day, a strange thing happened in the village. A wise old owl flew into the square with urgent news. "Listen, everyone," the owl hooted. "Far away in the mountains, a terrible drought has begun. The river is drying up, and soon there will be no water for anyone. But there is hope. There is a legend of a golden flower that grows deep in the enchanted forest. This flower can bring rain and save the land. However, it is hidden and guarded by a fierce dragon. Only the bravest among us can retrieve it." All the birds looked at each other, unsure of what to do. The idea of facing a dragon was terrifying, and the enchanted forest was full of unknown dangers. Pip felt his tiny heart beating fast. He knew he was small and plain, but he couldn't bear the thought of the river drying up and the forest dying. Gathering all his courage, Pip fluttered forward. "I will go and find the golden flower," he chirped. The other birds gasped in surprise. "But Pip, you are so small," said a robin. "How can you face a dragon?" Pip stood tall as a little sparrow could. "I may be small, but my heart is strong. I will do my best to save our home." The wise old owl looked at Pip with kind eyes. "Bravery does not come from size, but from the heart," the owl said. "Go, Pip, and may the wind be under your wings." With those words, Pip set off towards the enchanted forest. He flew over the village, past the meadows, and into the thick trees of the forest. The forest was dark and mysterious, with tall trees that blocked the sunlight. Strange sounds echoed around him, and shadows moved between the bushes. Pip felt scared, but he reminded himself why he was there. He thought of the village, the drying river, and all the other birds depending on him. He flew deeper into the forest, determined to find the golden flower. After flying for what felt like hours, Pip saw a faint glow in the distance. He followed the light and found himself in a small clearing. In the middle of the clearing stood the golden flower. It was the most beautiful thing Pip had ever seen. Its petals were bright and shiny, and it gave off a warm, golden light that made the whole clearing glow. For a moment, Pip forgot about his fears and felt a sense of wonder. But just as he was about to fly towards the flower, a loud roar shook the forest. A huge dragon with scales as dark as the night emerged from the shadows. Its eyes glowed red, and smoke curled from its nostrils. "Who dares enter my forest?" the dragon growled. Pip's heart pounded in his chest, but he knew he had to be brave. He took a deep breath and fluttered forward. "I am Pip, a sparrow from the village," he said. "Our land is suffering from a drought, and we need the golden flower to bring the rain. Please, let me take it." The dragon looked down at Pip and laughed. "You? A tiny sparrow? What makes you think you can take my golden flower?" the dragon sneered. "You are too small and weak. Go back to your village, or I will make you my dinner." Pip trembled but did not back down. "I may be small, but my heart is strong. I will do anything to save my home." The dragon stared at Pip for a moment, surprised by his courage. "Very well," the dragon said. "If you can answer my riddle, I will let you take the golden flower. But if you fail, you will leave and never return." Pip nodded, ready to try. "Here is my riddle," the dragon said. "I am always hungry, I must always be fed. The finger I touch will soon turn red. What am I?" Pip thought hard. He remembered the times he had watched people in the village lighting fires to cook food. Fires were always hungry for wood, and they burned whatever they touched. "The answer is fire," Pip said confidently. The dragon's eyes widened, impressed. "You are right, little sparrow," the dragon said. "You have answered my riddle correctly. You may take the golden flower." Pip couldn't believe it. He had done it. He carefully plucked the golden flower and thanked the dragon. "You are brave and wise, little sparrow," the dragon said. "Remember, true strength comes from within." Pip nodded and flew back towards the village, the golden flower clutched in his beak. As Pip returned to the village, the people and birds cheered. They gathered around him, and Pip placed the golden flower in the center of the village square. Its light spread across the land, and soon, dark clouds began to gather in the sky. Rain started to fall, first in gentle drops, then in a steady shower. The river filled up, and the forest came alive with color again. Everyone in the village celebrated, and Pip was hailed as a hero. From that day on, Pip was no longer the unnoticed, plain sparrow. He was known as the bravest bird in the village, the one who had saved them all. Pip realized that it didn't matter how small he was or how plain his feathers were. What mattered was the strength of his heart and the courage to do what was right. And so, Pip lived happily, always ready to help others and never doubting his worth again. He knew that even the smallest of creatures could make a big difference in the world. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Once upon a time, in the heart of a misty valley surrounded by towering mountains, there was a charming village named Willow's End. This village was known for its enchanting forest, where the trees were said to whisper secrets to those who listened closely. At the edge of the forest stood an ancient, gnarled oak tree known as the Whispering Tree. It was believed that the tree held a magical lantern that could grant a single wish to anyone with a pure heart. In Willow's End lived a kind-hearted young woman named Elowen. Elowen had a special gift. She could understand the whispers of the trees and the songs of the wind. She used her gift to help the villagers, healing their ailments and guiding them with her wisdom. However, despite her many acts of kindness, Elowen had a deep sorrow. Her beloved brother, Rowan, had disappeared years ago while exploring the forest. One evening, as the full moon cast its silver light over the valley, Elowen decided to seek out the magical lantern to make a wish to bring Rowan back home. With a heavy heart and a lantern of her own, she ventured into the forest, guided by the whispers of the trees and the light of the moon. As she walked deeper into the forest, the mist grew thicker and the trees seemed to close in around her. The forest was alive with the sound of rustling leaves and distant, haunting melodies. Elowen followed the gentle whispers of the trees, which seemed to guide her towards the heart of the forest. After hours of navigating through the dense woods, Elowen reached the Whispering Tree. Its enormous branches stretched towards the sky, and its leaves shimmered with a silvery glow. At the base of the tree was an ancient stone pedestal, upon which rested the Lantern of Whispers. The lantern was exquisite, crafted from delicate silver and adorned with intricate designs. Its light flickered softly, casting ethereal shadows on the ground. Eloan approached the lantern with reverence, her heart filled with hope and apprehension. Just as she was about to make her wish, a soft voice spoke from the shadows. "To grant a wish, one must prove their heart's true intention," said the voice. From the shadows emerged a small, ethereal creature, a forest sprite named Lysander. "I am the guardian of the lantern. To unlock its magic, you must pass 3 trials that test the purity of your heart." Eloan nodded, her determination unwavering. Lysander led her to the first trial, which was a tranquil glade illuminated by moonlight. In the center of the glade was a shimmering pool of water. "To pass this trial," Lysander explained, "you must show that you can find clarity and truth within yourself. Gaze into the pool and reflect on your deepest wish." Eloan peered into the pool and saw not only her reflection but also visions of her brother Rowan. She saw his joyful moments and the bond they shared. Her wish was not just for his return but for his happiness and safety. With a deep breath, she expressed her heartfelt desire to reunite with Rowan and to ensure his well-being. The pool's surface rippled, and Lysander nodded in approval. "You have shown clarity and sincerity. Now, for the second trial." The second trial led Eloan to a dense thicket, where the path was obscured by thick vines and tangled branches. "To pass this trial," Lysander said, "you must find your way through the thicket using only the light of the lantern and the guidance of your heart." Eloan carefully navigated through the thicket, her lantern illuminating the path. She listened to the whispers of the forest and followed the gentle breeze that seemed to guide her. Her heart remained focused on her wish, and she emerged from the thicket with a renewed sense of hope. Finally, Lysander led Eloan to a clearing where an ancient stone archway stood. "For the third and final trial," Lysander said, "you must face your deepest fear and demonstrate courage." Eloan approached the archway, and as she passed through, she was confronted by a vision of her greatest fear, losing Rowan forever. The vision was overwhelming. But Eloan took a deep breath and faced it with courage. She whispered words of love and reassurance, affirming her unyielding hope and determination to find Rowan. The vision faded, and Lysander appeared once more. "You have passed all 3 trials with a pure heart and unwavering courage. The Lantern of Whispers is now ready to grant your wish." Eloan took the lantern and gently whispered her wish, "I wish for my brother Rowan to return home safely and to be happy." The lantern's light grew bright and enveloped Eloan. The forest seemed to hum with magic, and she felt a warm, comforting presence. The next moment, Rowan appeared in the clearing, looking weary but safe. He had been lost in the forest, but now he was finally home. Eloan and Rowan embraced, tears of joy streaming down their faces. The Lantern of Whispers had fulfilled its promise. Lysander smiled and blessed them, and the magical lantern's light dimmed, having completed its task. Eloan and Rowan returned to Willow's End, where they were greeted with celebration and joy. The village rejoiced at Rowan's safe return, and Eloan's act of bravery and love became a cherished story in the village. The Lantern of Whispers remained in the Whispering Tree, a symbol of hope and the power of a pure heart. It continued to shine its gentle light, reminding everyone that even in the darkest times, love and courage could bring light and miracles. And so, Eloan, Rowan, and the village of Willow's End lived happily ever after, forever touched by the magic of the Lantern of Whispers and the unbreakable bond of family. The enchanted lantern in a faraway kingdom surrounded by misty mountains and lush meadows, there was a quaint village known for its bright, colorful festivals and warm-hearted people. Among them lived a young girl named Isla who had a deep love for lanterns. Her dream was to create the most beautiful lantern ever seen, one that would light up the night sky with a magic all its own. Every year, the village held a grand festival where lanterns of all shapes and sizes floated up into the night sky. But despite her best efforts, Isla's lanterns never seemed to shine as brightly as she imagined. She believed there was a secret to creating the perfect lantern, one that she was missing. One day, as Isla was wandering through the forest collecting flowers for her lanterns, she stumbled upon an old, dusty shop hidden behind a curtain of ivy. The sign above the door read, "The Lantern Maker's Haven." Curiosity piqued, she pushed open the creaky door and stepped inside. The shop was filled with every type of lantern imaginable. Some were made of glass, others of paper, and many were adorned with intricate designs and sparkling gems. At the counter stood an elderly man with a kind face and twinkling eyes. "Welcome, young one," the man said warmly. "I am Master Cedric, the lantern maker. How can I assist you?" Isla shyly approached him. "I want to create a lantern that shines with magic. I've tried many times, but I can never make it quite right. Is there a secret to making a lantern truly special?" Master Cedric smiled. "Ah, a magical lantern. There is indeed a secret. The most enchanting lanterns are made not just with skill, but with a touch of true magic. To find this magic, you must first find the enchanted lantern, which is hidden in the heart of the Whispering Forest." Isla's eyes widened with excitement. "How can I find it?" Cedric handed her a small, ornate box. "This box holds a magical compass. It will guide you to the enchanted lantern. Remember, though, that the path will not be easy. You must have a brave heart and a pure spirit." Thanking Master Cedric, Isla set off into the Whispering Forest. The compass glowed softly and pointed the way through the dense trees and winding paths. As she followed it, she encountered various obstacles: thick brambles, rushing streams, and tricky, enchanted creatures. But she faced each challenge with courage and kindness, helping a lost fox find its way and soothing a frightened deer. After a long and arduous journey, Isla arrived at a clearing bathed in soft, golden light. In the center of the clearing stood a magnificent lantern, glowing with a warm, radiant light. It was adorned with intricate patterns and precious gems that seemed to dance with a life of their own. As Isla approached the lantern, she felt a sense of awe and reverence. The lantern spoke in a gentle, melodic voice. "Welcome, Isla. You have shown great bravery and kindness on your journey. I am the enchanted lantern, and I hold the magic you seek. To claim my magic, you must offer a gift from your heart." Isla thought for a moment and then reached into her bag. She took out a small, handcrafted lantern she had made herself, adorned with delicate patterns and a tiny, glowing charm. She placed it at the base of the enchanted lantern. "This lantern is a symbol of my love for lanterns and my desire to spread light and joy," Isla said. "I offer it as a gift." The enchanted lantern's light grew brighter, and a warm, gentle breeze filled the clearing. "Your gift is filled with love and sincerity," it said. "I grant you the magic you seek. When you return to your village, your lanterns will shine with a light that touches hearts and brings happiness." With the magic granted, Isla made her way back to the village. As night fell and the festival began, she set her lanterns afloat in the sky. They glowed with a mesmerizing brilliance, illuminating the night with colors and patterns that seemed to dance and swirl. The villagers watched in awe, their hearts lifted by the enchanting display. The festival was the most magical one they had ever experienced, and Isla's lanterns became a cherished part of their celebrations. From that day on, Isla's lanterns were renowned throughout the land for their beauty and magic. The villagers celebrated the festival with even greater joy, knowing that the light they saw was a gift of love and magic. And so, Isla's dream came true, and her story became a beloved legend, reminding everyone that true magic lies in the kindness of the heart and the joy of sharing one's gifts with others. And they all lived happily ever after. I hope you enjoyed this fairy tale. Once upon a time, in a hidden corner of the world, lay the forgotten kingdom of Astria. This kingdom was renowned for its dazzling beauty, with skies filled with twinkling stars, and fields that sparkled under the moonlight. At the heart of Astria was the Starflower Garden, where magical flowers bloomed only under the light of the stars, their petals glowing with celestial light. These starflowers were said to hold the power to grant wishes and bring prosperity to the kingdom. The guardian of the Starflower Garden was a gentle fairy named Leora. Leora was beloved by the people of Astria for her wisdom and her nurturing care of the magical flowers. However, one day, a great shadow fell over Astria. A wicked sorceress named Vesper, envious of the kingdom's light and beauty, cast a dark spell that caused the stars to vanish from the sky, plunging the kingdom into perpetual night. With the stars gone, the starflowers began to wilt, and the kingdom's once vibrant beauty faded into darkness. The people of Astria were filled with despair. And their once prosperous land was now a cold, dark shadow of its former self. It was then that a brave young girl named Elara stepped forward. Elara had grown up hearing stories of the Starflower Garden and had always dreamed of seeing its magic. Determined to save her kingdom, she vowed to find the missing stars and restore the light to Astria. Elara set off on her journey under the dim glow of the moon. Her first challenge came at the edge of the enchanted forest, a place where ancient trees whispered secrets and magical creatures roamed. The forest was now a place of eerie silence, the enchantment of old faded away. As Elara walked deeper into the forest, she encountered a wise old owl named Orion. To restore the stars, Orion said, you must pass through the Forest of Echoes. There, you will find 3 trials that test your heart and your spirit. Only by completing these trials will you be able to continue your quest. Elara nodded, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Orion guided her to the entrance of the Forest of Echoes, where the first trial awaited. The first trial, the trial of courage. In the Forest of Echoes, Elara faced a dark and winding path shrouded in mist. The air was thick with shadows, and eerie noises filled the silence. At the end of the path stood a grand archway guarded by a fearsome dragon named Draconis. The dragon's scales were as dark as the night, and his eyes glowed with a fierce light. To pass, Draconis rumbled, you must confront your deepest fear and prove your courage. Elara took a deep breath and stepped forward. She faced her fear of the unknown, her heart pounding as the shadows seemed to close in around her. But she reminded herself of her purpose and her love for her kingdom. With unwavering resolve, she walked through the archway, and the shadows parted to reveal the next challenge. The second trial, the trial of wisdom. The second trial brought Elara to a serene glade where a shimmering pool of water lay. The guardian of the pool, a graceful water nymph named Nereis, awaited her. To proceed, Nereis said, you must answer this riddle. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I? Elara thought deeply about the riddle. She listened to the rustling of the leaves and the whispering breeze. An echo, she answered. Nereis smiled and the pool's surface rippled, revealing a hidden path that led to the final trial. The third trial, the trial of compassion. The final trial led Elara to a moonlit meadow where a small, wounded unicorn named Luna lay. Luna's silver horn was dulled, and her once bright eyes were filled with pain. To lift the darkness, Luna spoke softly, you must heal me with the light of your compassion. Only a heart filled with true kindness can restore my strength. Elara knelt beside Luna and gently tended to her wounds. She spoke soothing words and shared stories of her homeland, hoping to bring comfort. As she cared for Luna, her genuine compassion began to shine through, and the unicorn's strength returned. Luna's horn began to glow once more, and she rose to her feet with renewed vitality. You have completed the trials with courage, wisdom, and compassion, Luna said. Follow me, and I will guide you to the source of the darkness. Luna led Elara to a hidden cavern where Vesper, the wicked sorceress, was using the stolen stars to fuel her dark magic. The cavern was filled with a cold, unnatural light, and the stars were trapped in a swirling vortex of shadow. Elara approached Vesper with a steady heart. Please, return the stars to their rightful place. The kingdom of Astria needs them to restore its light and beauty. Vesper's eyes flashed with anger, but as she looked at Elara, she saw the sincerity and bravery in her heart. The sorceress had been consumed by jealousy and darkness, but Elara's compassion reached her soul. With a heavy sigh, Vesper released the stars from their prison, and the celestial lights began to ascend back to the sky. As the stars returned, the night sky of Astria sparkled once more. And the starflowers in the garden began to bloom with their magical glow. The kingdom was bathed in a warm, golden light, and the darkness was lifted. Ilara returned to Glimmerbrook as a hero, and the people celebrated her bravery and kindness. Vesper, her heart touched by the beauty of compassion, chose to leave behind her dark ways and seek a path of redemption. The Starflower Garden thrived again, and Astria was restored to its former glory. The story of Ilara's quest and the trials she faced became a cherished legend, reminding everyone of the power of courage, wisdom, and compassion in the face of darkness. And so, the stars continued to shine brightly over the Forgotten Kingdom, a beacon of hope and a reminder of the light that can be found in even the darkest of times. Once upon a time, in a kingdom where rolling meadows met towering peaks, there was a hidden realm known only to a few. This realm was concealed behind a magical barrier and could only be accessed through a special mirror that shimmered with the light of the full moon. The mirror was said to grant a single wish to anyone pure of heart who found it. In a nearby village lived a young girl named Mira, who was known for her kindness and curiosity. Mira had heard whispers of the hidden kingdom and the magical mirror that could grant wishes. Every night, she would gaze at the moon, dreaming of finding the mirror and making a wish to bring happiness to her village, which had been suffering from a mysterious and prolonged winter. One chilly winter evening, as the full moon bathed the land in its silvery light, Mira decided that tonight was the night she would seek out the moonlit mirror. She wrapped herself in a warm cloak and ventured into the forest, guided by the moon's glow. The forest was eerily quiet, with only the crunch of snow underfoot and the distant hoot of an owl. Mira walked deeper into the woods, her heart filled with both excitement and apprehension. After what seemed like hours, she arrived at a secluded glade bathed in a soft, ethereal light. In the center of the glade stood an ancient oak tree with a trunk that sparkled as if dusted with stardust. Leaning against the tree was a mirror with an ornate frame covered in silver vines and moon-shaped motifs. The mirror's surface shimmered like liquid silver, reflecting the light of the full moon in mesmerizing patterns. Mira approached the mirror with awe and reverence. As she touched the mirror's surface, a warm, soothing light enveloped her, and a gentle voice spoke from within the mirror. "Welcome, Mira. You have found the moonlit mirror, which reveals itself only to those with a pure heart. What is your wish?" Mira took a deep breath and spoke from the depths of her heart. "I wish for my village to be free from this endless winter and to experience the warmth and joy of spring once more. I want my people to be happy and healthy." The mirror's surface rippled like water, and the light within it grew brighter. "Your wish is noble and selfless," the voice said. "But to grant it, you must prove your worthiness by showing your courage and compassion." As soon as the voice finished speaking, Mira found herself standing at the edge of a beautiful, shimmering forest, unlike any she had ever seen. The trees were adorned with sparkling blossoms, and the air was filled with a sweet, enchanting fragrance. A narrow path led through the forest, and Mira began to follow it, hoping to discover the test she needed to complete. The path soon led her to a small, crystal-clear lake with an island at its center. On the island stood a solitary, ancient tree with a golden fruit hanging from its branches. The fruit glowed with a warm, inviting light. Beside the lake was a small boat with no oars. Mira realized that she needed to cross the lake to reach the island and retrieve the golden fruit. Though the water was cold and the boat appeared fragile, Mira's determination gave her strength. She stepped into the boat and noticed a small note inside that read, "True courage is shown not by the absence of fear, but by the willingness to face it." With renewed resolve, Mira took a deep breath and began to gently row the boat using her hands. The boat glided smoothly across the lake, as if guided by an unseen force. Despite the cold, Mira's heart was warm with the thought of her village and her wish. When she reached the island, Mira picked the golden fruit from the tree. The moment she touched it, a soft, melodious chime filled the air. The tree's branches shook gently, and a warm breeze blew across the lake, carrying the scent of spring. Mira returned to the edge of the forest, the golden fruit in hand. As she approached the moonlit mirror, the surface rippled once more. "You have shown great courage and compassion," the voice said. Your wish shall be granted." The mirror's light enveloped the golden fruit, and it began to glow even brighter. Suddenly, Mira found herself back in her village. The snow was melting, and the first signs of spring appeared: buds on the trees, blooming flowers, and the cheerful songs of birds. The villagers were astonished and overjoyed as they witnessed the transformation. They gathered around Mira, celebrating the return of warmth and the end of their long, harsh winter. Mira was hailed as a heroine, not only for her bravery but also for her selfless wish that had brought joy and renewal to their lives. From that day on, Mira's village flourished under the warmth of spring, and the legend of the moonlit mirror was told to every generation. The magical mirror continued to stand in its glade, waiting for the next pure-hearted soul to discover it and make a wish for the greater good. And so, the village thrived, filled with happiness and hope, forever touched by the magic of the moonlit mirror. Once upon a time, in a land where the mountains met the clouds and rivers sparkled like sapphires, there was a forgotten kingdom known as Eldoria. Eldoria was a magical realm, vibrant with enchantments and wonders, but it had been hidden away from the world for many centuries, obscured by a veil of magic. The only hint of its existence was an old legend about a glowing lantern that held the key to finding the lost kingdom. In a nearby village named Willowbrook, there lived a brave and curious girl named Mira. Mira had always been fascinated by stories of Eldoria. Her grandmother had told her tales of its beauty and magic, but the kingdom had faded into obscurity as the years went by. One stormy night, while Mira was rummaging through her attic, she found an old, dusty lantern that seemed to hum with a soft, mysterious light. The lantern was adorned with intricate patterns of moons and stars. Her heart raced as she remembered the legend. Could this be the lantern from the tales? Driven by curiosity and a sense of adventure, Mira decided to uncover the truth. With the lantern in hand, she set off towards the mountains, hoping to discover the lost kingdom. As she climbed the misty peaks, the storm grew fiercer. The wind howled and rain poured, but Mira pressed on, her determination unwavering. Eventually, she reached a secluded cave that seemed to glow from within. With a deep breath, Mira entered the cave, and the lantern's light grew brighter, illuminating ancient runes etched into the walls. In the center of the cave stood an old, weathered door with a keyhole shaped like a star. Mira placed the lantern before the door, and its light shone brightly, casting enchanting patterns on the door. The runes began to glow, and the keyhole started to sparkle. With a sense of anticipation, Mira reached for the lantern's handle and turned it. The door creaked open, revealing a breathtaking sight. Beyond the door lay Eldoria, as splendid and magical as the legends had described. The kingdom was a land of floating islands, shimmering waterfalls, and lush, enchanted gardens. Crystal towers glistened in the sunlight, and gentle creatures of every color roamed freely. Mira stepped into the kingdom, her heart filled with awe. As she explored, she discovered a grand palace at the heart of Eldoria. The palace was adorned with jewels and golden mosaics that depicted scenes of the kingdom's past. Mira wandered through its halls until she encountered a figure of regal bearing, a wise and graceful queen who appeared to be made of stardust and moonlight. The queen introduced herself as Queen Lyra, the last of Eldoria's royal line. Her eyes held a mix of sadness and hope. For centuries, our kingdom has been hidden away, and our magic has faded. Only the lantern of the lost kingdom could bring someone worthy to our realm. You, Mira, have proven your heart's purity and bravery. Mira felt a surge of emotion. I've always dreamed of finding Eldoria and helping it return to the world. What can I do to help? Queen Lyra smiled warmly. To restore our kingdom's magic, you must perform 3 tasks that will help rekindle the heart of Eldoria. Task 1, the heart of the forest. The first task led Mira to a magical forest where the trees had turned to stone due to a curse. She discovered that the curse could only be broken by restoring the ancient Heartstone, a mystical gem that radiated life and magic. Mira ventured deep into the forest and found the Heartstone, hidden in a glimmering grotto. Using the lantern's light, she cleansed the gem, and the forest began to awaken, the trees returning to their vibrant, living forms. Task 2, The River of Dreams. The second task took Mira to the River of Dreams, where the waters had turned murky and lifeless. The river's magic had been drained by a dark spell. Mira discovered that she needed to rekindle the river's spirit by releasing a sacred water sprite trapped in an enchanted cage. With the lantern's guiding light, she freed the sprite, and the river's waters sparkled with renewed vitality. Task 3: The Celestial Gate. The final task required Mira to journey to the Celestial Gate, a magical portal that connected Eldoria to the stars. The gate had been sealed by a powerful enchantment. Mira had to solve a celestial riddle inscribed on the gate, which involved aligning the lantern's light with the constellations above. As she solved the riddle, the gate opened, and a cascade of stardust flowed into the kingdom, restoring its magic and beauty. With all tasks completed, Eldoria's magic was fully restored. Queen Lyra thanked Mira for her bravery and selflessness. "You have brought new life to our kingdom and reminded us of the power of hope and courage. Eldoria is forever in your debt." Mira returned to Willowbrook, her heart full of joy and wonder. The lantern had served its purpose, but its light continued to guide her. The legend of Eldoria lived on, inspiring future generations with the tale of the girl who discovered a hidden kingdom and restored its magic. And so, Mira's story became a cherished legend in Willowbrook. A reminder that even in the darkest times, courage and kindness can bring light to the most magical places. Once upon a time, in the heart of a dense forest, there was a hidden library known only to a few. This library was unlike any other. It was said to be enchanted, with books that could come to life and stories that could whisk readers away on magical adventures. The library was protected by an ancient spell, and only those with pure hearts and a thirst for knowledge could find it. The guardian of this magical library was an elderly librarian named Alaric. With a long silver beard and wise eyes, Alaric had spent his life ensuring that the library's secrets were kept safe. He loved the library dearly and took great care of its countless books and scrolls. One day, a curious and kind-hearted girl named Alara, who lived in a small village on the edge of the forest, stumbled upon a mysterious map. The map was old and worn, but it depicted the path to the hidden library. Alara had always loved stories and dreamed of finding a place where magical tales came to life. Driven by her curiosity, she decided to follow the map. As Alara ventured into the forest, she encountered various magical creatures, glowing fireflies, talking squirrels, and wise old owls, all guiding her along the path. After a long journey, she finally arrived at the hidden library, its towering shelves and ancient tomes shining with a soft, welcoming glow. The library's doors creaked open as Alara approached, revealing a vast interior filled with shelves of books that seemed to shimmer with enchantment. Alara was awestruck as she wandered through the library, marveling at the magical aura that surrounded her. Alaric, the librarian, noticed her and welcomed her with a warm smile. "Welcome, young one," he said in a gentle voice. "It is rare to see a visitor with a heart so full of wonder and curiosity. What brings you to our enchanted library?" Alara, her eyes wide with amazement, replied, "I found this map and followed it here. I've always dreamed of finding a place where stories come to life. Can you tell me more about this place?" Alaric nodded. "This library holds countless tales from across the realms, and some of them have a life of their own. But not everyone who enters can interact with the magic within these walls. It requires a special kind of bravery and kindness." Alara's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I want to learn more and experience the magic. What can I do?" Alaric smiled. "There is a special book in this library that has been waiting for someone like you. It is called the Book of Wonders. To find it, you must solve a riddle and demonstrate the qualities of a true hero." He handed Alara a golden key and said, "This key will open the door to the Book of Wonders, but first, you must solve this riddle. I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I?" Alara thought for a moment and then replied, "A map." "Very good," Alaric said. "Now, follow the path of the golden light to find the door. Use the key to unlock it." Ilara followed the golden light that seemed to guide her through the library's endless corridors. She finally reached a large, ornate door with intricate carvings of mythical creatures. With a deep breath, she used the key to unlock it. The door opened to reveal a magnificent room bathed in a golden glow. In the center of the room stood the Book of Wonders, resting on a pedestal surrounded by a soft, shimmering light. Ilara approached the book and opened it gently. As she did, the book's pages began to turn on their own, revealing stories of brave heroes, magical lands, and wondrous adventures. The room filled with the sounds of enchanting music, and images from the book came to life, swirling around Ilara like a vivid dream. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the room. "Ilara, you have shown great curiosity and bravery. The magic of this library is now yours to explore. But remember, true magic lies not just in the stories but in the heart of the reader." Ilara spent hours exploring the magical tales, meeting mythical creatures, and embarking on incredible adventures. She realized that the real magic came from the power of imagination and the joy of discovering new worlds through stories. When Ilara finally left the library, she felt a sense of fulfillment and wonder. Alaric bade her farewell with a knowing smile. "You have proven yourself worthy, Ilara. The library will always be here for you, and its magic will be a part of you." As Ilara returned to her village, she shared the tales and magic she had experienced with everyone. The library's enchantment continued to inspire and delight, and Ilara's stories became legendary among the villagers. And so, the hidden library remained a beacon of wonder and imagination, waiting for the next curious soul to discover its magic and embark on a journey of their own. The end. Once upon a time, in a secluded kingdom called Luminera, there was a village renowned for its stunning beauty and tranquil nature. At the heart of Luminera stood an ancient castle, home to the kind and wise Queen Ilara. The castle was surrounded by a lush garden, and in the garden's center lay a magnificent pond known as the Moonlit Mirror. This pond was said to reflect not only the moon's light but also the true desires of anyone who gazed into it. In the village lived a young girl named Lyra. Lyra was known for her curious spirit and kind heart. She spent her days helping her neighbors and dreaming of grand adventures. Yet, despite her vibrant life, she often felt a yearning for something more, a longing she could not quite understand. One evening, under a full moon that bathed the village in silver light, Lyra ventured to the castle's garden to see the moonlit mirror for herself. The villagers spoke of its magic, and Lyra was eager to uncover its secrets. As she approached the pond, the moonlit mirror shimmered with a radiant glow. Lyra knelt by the water's edge and gazed into its depths. The reflection that met her eyes was not just of the moonlit garden, but of a mysterious forest she had never seen before, filled with towering trees and sparkling streams. A voice, gentle and soothing, spoke from the water. "Brave Lyra, the moonlit mirror reveals not only what you seek but also what is needed. To fulfill your heart's desire, you must embark on a journey to the enchanted forest and retrieve the Star of Serenity." Lyra's heart raced with excitement and determination. "Where can I find the enchanted forest?" she asked. "The path will reveal itself to those who are pure of heart and seek with true intention," the voice replied. "Follow the light of the moon and trust in your courage." With the moonlight guiding her, Lyra set off on her journey. The path was illuminated by soft, glowing orbs that floated gently above the ground. She followed these lights, which led her through a series of meadows and over babbling brooks. After hours of travel, Lyra found herself standing before the entrance of the enchanted forest. The trees were tall and majestic, their leaves sparkling like diamonds in the moonlight. Lyra took a deep breath and stepped into the forest. Inside, the forest was a labyrinth of shimmering light and shadow. Lyra's heart guided her as she navigated through the maze-like paths, following the soft whispers of the wind. She soon encountered a wise old owl perched on a low branch. "Welcome, young traveler," the owl said. "To find the Star of Serenity, you must first prove your worth by solving 3 trials." Lyra listened intently as the owl explained the trials. 1. The trial of courage. Face the Phantom River, a stream with illusions that test your bravery. 2. The trial of wisdom. solve the riddle of the ancient trees to uncover the path forward. 3. The trial of compassion, help a lost creature find its way home. Determined, Lyra began the first trial. She reached the Phantom River, where eerie mist and ghostly figures floated over the water. Lyra's heart raced, but she steeled her nerves and crossed the river by focusing on the solid ground beneath her feet, not the illusions that tried to distract her. She successfully completed the trial of courage. Next, Lyra arrived at the ancient trees, their gnarled branches forming an intricate puzzle. Each tree seemed to whisper a clue. Lyra listened carefully and pieced together the riddle, which revealed a hidden path leading deeper into the forest. With this, she completed the trial of wisdom. The final trial was the most challenging. Lyra heard the faint cries of a small, lost creature. Following the sounds, she found a tiny fawn trapped in a tangled thicket. Gently, Lyra freed the fawn and comforted it. The fawn nuzzled her gratefully before leading her to a hidden glade. In the center of the glade, bathed in moonlight, lay the Star of Serenity, a beautiful crystal orb that glowed with a soothing light. Lyra carefully took the orb, and the forest seemed to come alive with a soft, harmonious melody. With the Star of Serenity in hand, Lyra made her way back to the moonlit mirror. As she approached the pond, the orb's light mingled with the moon's reflection, creating a brilliant, calming radiance. The voice from the moonlit mirror spoke again, "You have completed the trials with courage, wisdom, and compassion. The Star of Serenity is yours, and with it, you will bring peace and joy to your heart's true desire." Lyra's heart swelled with happiness. She understood now that her journey had been about discovering her inner strength and kindness. She returned to the village, where she used the Star of Serenity to spread peace and harmony, helping to heal the hearts of those around her. From that day on, Lyra became known not just for her adventurous spirit, but also for her ability to inspire and uplift those in need. The moonlit mirror continued to shine brightly in the castle's garden, a beacon of hope and wonder for all who sought its magic. And so, in the kingdom of Luminera, Lyra's tale of bravery and compassion became a cherished legend, reminding everyone that true fulfillment comes from the journey of the heart. Once upon a time, in a realm where the mountains kissed the sky and rivers flowed with silver, there was a hidden kingdom known as Lumaria. This kingdom was bathed in perpetual twilight, thanks to a magical lantern that hung from the highest tower of the royal castle. The lantern's light was warm and golden, casting a gentle glow that kept the kingdom in a state of perpetual dusk, neither night nor day. The people of Lumaria lived in harmony and joy, their days filled with laughter and their nights with peaceful dreams. However, one fateful evening, the lantern's light began to dim, and the once vibrant kingdom started to fade into shadow. The fields lost their color, the river's silver shimmer turned dull, and the once bright streets were cloaked in gloom. The kingdom's wise queen, Queen Seraphina, was deeply troubled. She knew that the lantern's light was the source of Lumaria's magic and prosperity. Without it, the kingdom would be lost to darkness. She called upon her trusted advisor, Sir Cedric, and shared her fears. "We must find out why the lantern is losing its light," Queen Seraphina said. "The lantern has been the heart of our kingdom for centuries. If we don't restore its glow, Lumaria will be lost forever." Sir Cedric bowed. "Your Majesty, I will find the source of this darkness and restore the lantern's light. I shall embark on a quest to save Lumaria." As Sir Cedric prepared for his journey, a young girl named Ilara, who lived in a small village on the edge of the kingdom, stepped forward. Ilara was known for her kind heart and adventurous spirit. "Please, let me join you," she said. "I have a feeling that I can help in this quest." Queen Seraphina looked at Ilara thoughtfully. "Very well, Ilara. You may join Sir Cedric. Your courage and intuition may be what we need to succeed." With a satchel of supplies and a map from the Queen, Sir Cedric and Ilara set off on their quest. Their first challenge came as they reached the edge of the kingdom, where a dense and foreboding forest known as the Shadow Wood lay before them. The trees were twisted, and a thick fog shrouded the path. As they ventured into the forest, they encountered their first obstacle, a rickety bridge suspended over a deep ravine. The bridge swayed dangerously, and the fog made it difficult to see. Sir Cedric, though brave, hesitated. Elara, however, spotted a series of stones along the edge of the ravine and suggested they use them to cross. With Elara's guidance, they carefully made their way across the stones and reached the other side. As they continued through the forest, they came upon a clearing where a magical creature, a wise old unicorn named Astra, stood waiting. Astra spoke in a soft, melodious voice. To find the source of the darkness, you must seek the Cave of Echoes. There, you will find the Heartstone, a powerful gem that holds the key to restoring the lantern's light. But be wary, for the cave is guarded by a fearsome dragon. Thanking Astra for her guidance, Sir Cedric and Elara pressed on. They followed the map until they reached the entrance of the Cave of Echoes. The cave's entrance was guarded by a massive dragon with scales as dark as night. The dragon's eyes glowed like fiery embers. Elara, though nervous, approached the dragon with a calm demeanor. We seek the Heartstone to restore the lantern's light and save our kingdom. Please, let us pass. The dragon growled but was intrigued by Elara's bravery. To enter, you must solve my riddle, the dragon said. If you answer correctly, I shall allow you to pass. The dragon's riddle was complex, but with Sir Cedric's wisdom and Elara's quick thinking, they solved it. The dragon, impressed, allowed them to enter the cave. Inside, the cave was filled with glittering crystals and echoing sounds. At the heart of the cave, they found the Heartstone, a brilliant gem that pulsed with a soft, golden light. But as they approached, a dark shadow emerged, a wicked sorcerer who had been hiding in the cave, seeking to use the Heartstone's power for his own evil purposes. The sorcerer cackled as he saw Sir Cedric and Elara. You think you can take the Heartstone from me? The darkness will consume your kingdom. Elara, though frightened, stepped forward and spoke with determination. We won't let you use the Heartstone for evil. We are here to save our kingdom and restore the light. The sorcerer attacked with dark magic, but Sir Cedric and Elara fought back bravely. Sir Cedric used his sword to deflect the sorcerer's spells, while Elara used her quick reflexes and clever strategies to outmaneuver him. In the heat of the battle, Elara noticed a faint glow coming from the Heartstone. She realized that the Heartstone's light was linked to the lantern in their kingdom. With a final burst of courage, she managed to grab the Heartstone and hold it up high. The Heartstone's light grew brighter, and its glow banished the sorcerer's darkness. The sorcerer, defeated, fled into the shadows, and the Heartstone's light filled the cave with a warm, golden glow. Sir Cedric and Elara carefully made their way back to Lumaria, carrying the Heartstone with them. As they arrived at the royal castle, the lantern's dim light began to flicker with renewed brightness. Elara placed the Heartstone in the lantern, and a brilliant light erupted, bathing the kingdom in its warm, golden glow. The fields regained their color, the river sparkled once more, and the streets were filled with joy. Queen Seraphina, Sir Cedric, and the people of Lumaria celebrated their heroes. Elara's bravery and quick thinking had saved the kingdom, and Sir Cedric's strength and wisdom had ensured their success. The kingdom was restored to its former glory, and the lantern's light once again bathed Lumaria in a gentle, eternal twilight. Elara returned to her village, where she was celebrated as a hero. Sir Cedric continued to serve the kingdom with honor, and the Whispering Willow stood tall and proud, its magic stronger than ever. And so, the tale of Elara and Sir Cedric became a cherished legend in Lumaria, a story of bravery, teamwork, and the light that shines within every heart. And thus, the story of the Enchanted Lantern and the Lost Kingdom became a beloved tale, a reminder that even in the darkest times, courage and kindness can bring back the light. Once upon a time, in a land of rolling hills and sparkling streams, lay a quaint village named Windmere. This village was known far and wide for its annual festival of lights, where the night sky was filled with glowing lanterns, each one representing a wish or a hope. The most cherished of all was the Lantern of Leora, a magical lantern said to grant a single, pure wish to the one who found it. In Windmere lived a young girl named Leora, named after the very lantern that was said to possess magical powers. Leora was a kind-hearted and curious child, always eager to help others and explore the mysteries of her village. She had heard many stories about the lantern of Leora but had never seen it herself. One crisp autumn evening, as the Festival of Lights approached, Leora decided to embark on a quest to find the lantern. She hoped to make a wish for her ailing grandmother, who had always been the heart of their family and the village. Leora packed a small satchel with essentials and set out just as the sun dipped below the horizon. Her first clue led her to the ancient oak tree at the edge of the village. The tree was known to be a wise guardian of secrets and legends. As Leora approached, she noticed a small, hidden compartment in the tree's trunk. Inside was a note with a riddle: where light and shadow blend as one, the path to the lantern has just begun. Seek the place where stars align, and the first of 3 trials you will find. Leora thanked the oak and followed the riddle's guidance to a nearby meadow where the stars seemed to twinkle more brightly. There, in the center of the meadow, was a large stone covered in ancient symbols. The symbols formed constellations that matched the night sky. Leora carefully traced the symbols with her fingers, aligning them with the stars. As she completed the pattern, the ground trembled slightly, and a hidden staircase spiraled downward into the earth. At the bottom of the staircase, Leora found herself in a dimly lit cavern. At the cavern's center stood a crystal pedestal with a glowing orb. The orb illuminated the room with a soft, soothing light. The pedestal had an inscription: "To pass the test of reflection, face your truth and reveal your heart's desire." Leora looked into the orb, and it projected reflections of her past, her hopes, and her dreams. She saw moments of joy with her grandmother and times when she had helped others in need. The reflections were honest and sincere, showing her pure intentions and deep love. With clarity in her heart, Leora spoke her wish aloud: "I wish for my grandmother to be well and happy once more." The orb's light intensified, and Leora felt a warm, comforting embrace as she completed the trial. The cavern's walls began to shimmer, and a hidden passage appeared. Leora followed the passage to a beautiful glade filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the sound of gentle music. In the center of the glade stood a large, intricately carved stone archway. Beyond the archway was the second trial, the Trial of Harmony. The glade was home to a community of magical creatures, fairies, sprites, and woodland animals, who were in the midst of a grand celebration. The creatures seemed to be in disarray, their music and dance out of sync. To restore harmony, Leora needed to unite the creatures by solving the Trial of Harmony. She listened carefully to the melodies and observed the dance patterns. With her natural musical talent, Leora began to sing a tune that blended the various rhythms and melodies into a cohesive harmony. The creatures joined in, their music and dance aligning perfectly. As the trial was completed, a path of glowing lanterns appeared, leading to the final destination. Leora followed the lanterns through a serene forest and arrived at a tranquil pond with a single, glowing lantern floating on its surface. The lantern of Leora was even more beautiful than she had imagined, with intricate designs and a soft, radiant glow. The final trial, the Trial of Courage, required Leora to make a heartfelt wish and face the outcome with bravery. Leora took a deep breath and gently picked up the lantern. She closed her eyes and made her wish again for her grandmother's health and happiness. As she did, the lantern's light grew brighter, illuminating the entire forest with its magical glow. With her wish made, Leora returned to Windmere, the lantern's light guiding her way. When she arrived home, she found her grandmother sitting up in bed, smiling and looking healthier than she had in months. The magical wish had come true. The village celebrated Leora's bravery and the miraculous recovery of her grandmother. The lantern of Leora was placed in a special place of honor in the village square, where it continued to inspire and bring hope to everyone who saw it. Leora's quest and the magical lantern became a cherished story in Windmere, a tale of courage, love, and the power of a selfless wish. And so, the Festival of Lights continued to shine brightly, filled with joy and the knowledge that the greatest magic comes from a heart full of love and kindness. Once upon a time, in the magical kingdom of Luminera, there existed a wondrous crown known as the Starlit Crown. This crown, adorned with glimmering gemstones that shimmered like stars, was said to hold the power to illuminate the darkest corners of the world and bring light to those in need. The kingdom of Luminera was blessed with constant twilight, where the sky was always painted in hues of deep blue and soft lavender. The people of Luminera were kind-hearted and lived in harmony, their days filled with gentle light and the twinkling of countless stars. The crown was kept in the Grand Tower, guarded by the wise and just Queen Isabella. Queen Isabella's daughter, Princess Lyra, was a brave and adventurous young woman with a heart as radiant as the starlit crown itself. She loved exploring the kingdom and helping her people. One evening, as the sky deepened into twilight, a dark and ominous storm began to brew over Luminera. The storm was unlike any the kingdom had seen before. Thunder roared with a frightening intensity, and lightning crackled with a malevolent energy. As the storm raged, the light from the starlit crown grew dim and flickered, casting shadows over the kingdom. Concerned for her people, Queen Isabella called for Princess Lyra. "My dear, the starlit crown's light is fading, and I fear the storm is linked to a dark force trying to seize our crown. You must journey beyond the kingdom to find the source of this darkness and restore the crown's light." Princess Lyra accepted the challenge without hesitation. Armed with courage and determination, she set off on her quest. The storm raged on as she ventured into the unknown, guided only by the dim, flickering light of the crown. Lyra's journey took her to the Whispering Woods, a dense forest known for its enchanted creatures and hidden secrets. The woods were dark and foreboding, and Lyra had to navigate through thick fog and tangled branches. As she walked, she came across a wise old owl perched on a branch. "Brave princess," the owl hooted. "To find the source of the darkness, you must first solve the riddle of the Whispering Woods." Lyra listened intently as the owl recited the riddle. "I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water. What am I?" After thinking carefully, Lyra answered, "A map." The owl nodded in approval and revealed a hidden path leading deeper into the woods. Following the path, Lyra soon arrived at a mystical grove where a glowing pool of water lay at its center. The pool was surrounded by magical fireflies that danced in the air. From the pool emerged a beautiful water nymph named Seraphina. "To continue your quest, you must seek the Heartstone, hidden in the caves of twilight," Seraphina said. "But be warned, the path is treacherous, and you will face great challenges." Lyra thanked Seraphina and made her way to the caves of twilight, a labyrinthine network of caverns rumored to be guarded by ancient magic. The caves were dimly lit, with eerie shadows flickering on the walls. As Lyra ventured deeper, she encountered a series of obstacles, shifting walls, narrow passages, and deceptive illusions. In the heart of the cave, Lyra discovered the Heartstone, a brilliant gem pulsing with a faint, warm light. As she reached for the Heartstone, a shadowy figure appeared, a dark sorcerer who had been trying to seize the starlit crown's light for himself. "You cannot stop me," the sorcerer sneered. "With the Heartstone in my grasp, I will plunge Luminera into eternal darkness." Lyra stood her ground. "The light of Luminera belongs to the people, not to darkness. I will not let you succeed." A fierce battle ensued. Lyra's bravery and strength clashed with the sorcerer's dark magic. Despite the sorcerer's powerful spells, Lyra's courage and determination shone through. As the sorcerer's magic faltered, Lyra reached the Heartstone and, with a final burst of light, dispelled the sorcerer's dark influence. With the Heartstone in hand, Lyra made her way back to Luminera. The storm had subsided, and the kingdom was once again bathed in a soft, twilight glow. The starlit crown's light began to grow brighter as Lyra approached the Grand Tower. Placing the Heartstone beside the crown, Lyra felt a surge of warmth and brilliance. The crown's light intensified, filling the kingdom with a radiant glow. The people of Luminera rejoiced as their home was restored to its former beauty. Queen Isabella embraced her daughter with pride. "You have saved our kingdom and restored the light. Your bravery and selflessness are a beacon for us all." The tale of Princess Lyra's courageous quest became a beloved legend in Luminera. The kingdom flourished under the starlit crown's brilliant light, and the people celebrated their hero who had protected their home from darkness. Lyra's story was passed down through generations, a reminder that true light comes from the heart and that even the darkest storm can be overcome with bravery and love. Once upon a time, in a bustling village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, there lived a wise old clockmaker named Tobias. Tobias was known throughout the land for his intricate and magical clocks that could measure not just time, but also moments of joy and sorrow. His most prized possession was an ancient clock known as the Heart of Time, a masterpiece that was said to hold the secrets of time itself. The clock was kept in the heart of Tobias's workshop, a cozy, cluttered space filled with the tick-tock of countless timepieces and the warm scent of wood and oil. Tobias had an apprentice named Lila, a bright and curious young girl who had been learning the art of clockmaking for many years. Lila admired Tobias greatly and dreamed of creating something as magnificent as the Heart of Time one day. One crisp autumn morning, as Tobias and Lila worked on a delicate cuckoo clock, a stranger arrived at the workshop. He was a tall man with a cloak as dark as midnight and eyes that gleamed with an unsettling light. He introduced himself as Mortimer and claimed to be a collector of rare and magical artifacts. "I have come to acquire the Heart of Time," Mortimer said, his voice smooth and persuasive. "I am willing to pay handsomely for it." Tobias's face grew solemn. "The Heart of Time is not for sale. It holds more than just mechanical parts. It is a keeper of the essence of time itself." Mortimer's eyes narrowed. "I see. Well, if you refuse to sell it, I will take it by force. Time is a powerful thing, and I will have it." Without another word, Mortimer cast a spell that sent the workshop into darkness. When the lights returned, the Heart of Time was gone, along with the stranger. Tobias was distraught, but he knew that recovering the Heart of Time was crucial for the balance of time itself. He turned to Lila, who was standing by in shock. "Lila, you must retrieve the Heart of Time. It is essential that you go after Mortimer and bring it back." "I will guide you with these instructions," he said, handing her a parchment with cryptic symbols. Lila accepted the challenge with determination. With Tobias's instructions in hand, she set out on her quest. The parchment revealed a series of clues that led her through a mystical forest, across a shimmering lake, and up a steep mountain path. Her journey was filled with trials. In the forest, she encountered mischievous sprites that tried to lead her astray. Using her wits, she solved their riddles and continued on her path. At the lake, she had to cross a bridge guarded by a wise old turtle who tested her patience and kindness. When she proved her worth, the turtle allowed her to pass. Finally, on the mountain, she faced a treacherous climb and a storm that tested her resolve. Each challenge brought her closer to her goal, and Lila's courage and ingenuity saw her through. Eventually, she arrived at an ancient castle, where Mortimer had taken the Heart of Time. The castle was surrounded by an enchanted barrier that could only be breached by someone with a pure heart. As Lila approached the castle, she saw Mortimer standing before a grand clock, trying to harness the Heart of Time's magic for himself. The clock's face was dark and twisted, and Mortimer looked on with greedy eyes. Lila stepped forward and confronted him. "Mortimer, you cannot control time for your own gain. The Heart of Time is a treasure meant to be respected, not exploited." Mortimer sneered. "You are too late, child. The power of time will be mine." But as Mortimer reached for the Heart of Time, the ancient magic within the castle reacted to his greed. The castle's walls began to crumble, and the dark clock's hands spun wildly. Realizing his mistake, Mortimer tried to escape, but the castle's magic was too strong. Lila, remembering Tobias's instructions, used the knowledge she had gained throughout her journey to restore the Heart of Time to its rightful place. She placed it carefully within the grand clock, and the moment she did, the castle's magic began to stabilize. The Heart of Time glowed with a warm, soothing light, and time flowed smoothly once more. With the Heart of Time returned to its rightful place, the enchanted barrier around the castle vanished. Mortimer was swept away by the castle's magic, never to be seen again. The castle, now restored to its former glory, stood as a symbol of the balance between time and respect. Lila returned to the village with the Heart of Time, and Tobias welcomed her with open arms. The village celebrated her bravery and the return of the precious artifact. The Heart of Time resumed its role, ensuring that time flowed as it should and that moments of joy and sorrow were in harmony. From that day forward, Lila continued her training with Tobias, and together they crafted many more wondrous timepieces. The tale of Lila's courage and the heart of time became a cherished story in the village, reminding everyone of the importance of respect and the balance of time. And so, in the kingdom of Erandir, where time and magic intertwined, the legacy of the Heart of Time and its brave protector lived on, inspiring future generations to honor the essence of time and the wisdom that comes with it. In a quaint village nestled between misty mountains and lush forests, there lived a young girl named Lila. Lila was known throughout the village for her beautiful singing voice. Every evening, she would sing by the riverbank, and her melodies would drift through the air, bringing peace and joy to all who heard them. One night, as Lila sang her favorite lullaby under the light of the full moon, a soft, shimmering light appeared on the water's surface. Out of the glow emerged a graceful swan, its feathers glistening like silver. The swan looked at Lila with wise, gentle eyes and spoke in a melodious voice. "Lila, your songs have brought great happiness to your village. I am Selene, guardian of the moonlit melody. You have a pure heart and a gift that must be protected. I need your help." Lila was surprised but listened intently as Selene continued. "Deep within the enchanted forest lies a hidden glen where the moonlit melody is kept. This melody holds the power to keep the balance between night and day. Recently, a mischievous spirit has stolen a part of it, causing the night to grow unnaturally long. If we do not retrieve it soon, the world will fall into eternal darkness." Determined to help, Lila agreed to embark on a quest to retrieve the stolen part of the melody. Selene transformed into a glowing star and guided Lila to the edge of the enchanted forest. The forest was magical but also filled with challenges. Lila soon encountered a talking squirrel named Nutmeg, who was perched on a large mushroom. To find the hidden glen, Nutmeg said, "You must solve 3 puzzles set by the forest's guardians. Only then will you find the spirit and the stolen melody." Lila thanked Nutmeg and set off on her journey. The first guardian was a wise old owl perched high in the trees. The owl looked down at Lila with curious eyes and asked, "I fly without wings, I cry without eyes. Wherever I go, darkness flies. What am I?" Lila thought about the owl's riddle. The answer came to her as she remembered the dark nights and the sounds of rain. "A cloud," she answered. The owl nodded, and the path ahead cleared, leading Lila deeper into the forest. The second guardian was a mischievous fox with a bushy tail, sitting by a sparkling stream. The fox challenged Lila with a puzzle. "I am not alive, but I grow. I do not have lungs, but I need air. I do not have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I?" Lila pondered the riddle as she watched the flowing water. "Fire," she said. The fox grinned and allowed her to pass, pointing her towards the final guardian. The last guardian was a gentle deer standing in a sunlit glade, surrounded by flowers. The deer's question was, "I have branches but no leaves, no trunk, and no fruit. What am I?" Lila thought for a moment, then replied, "A bank." The deer smiled and revealed the hidden path leading to the heart of the forest. Following the path, Lila arrived at a moonlit glen where a small, glowing orb hovered above the ground. The orb was surrounded by a soft, melodious hum. Suddenly, a playful spirit with a mischievous grin appeared, holding a fragment of the moonlit melody. "Ah, you found me," the spirit said with a twinkle in its eye. "Why should I return this melody? I've had so much fun making the nights longer." Lila approached the spirit and spoke gently. "The moonlit melody is important for maintaining balance. Without it, everything would be out of harmony. Your fun might lead to trouble for everyone." The spirit's playful expression softened as it listened to Lila's heartfelt words. "I never meant to cause harm," it said, handing over the fragment of the melody. "I just wanted to play." Lila thanked the spirit and, with the melody fragment in hand, returned to Selene. The swan, glowing with relief, guided Lila back to the riverbank. As Lila sang the moonlit melody with the recovered fragment, The melody resonated with the night sky, restoring balance. The moonlight grew brighter and the nights returned to their natural length. The village celebrated Lila's bravery and kindness, and the story of her quest became a cherished legend. Celine, grateful for Lila's help, bestowed a magical gift upon her, a silver locket that would always allow her to sing with the power of the moonlit melody. Lila continued to sing, her songs now carrying the magic of the moonlight, bringing peace and joy to all who heard them. And so, under the soft glow of the moon and the harmony of Lila's voice, the village thrived in a world where night and day danced in perfect balance, thanks to the bravery of a young girl and the magic of the moonlit melody. In the gentle glow of the moonlit nights, the villagers learned that harmony is maintained not just through magic, but through the courage and kindness of those who care for the world around them.